Take a look at multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Well, the root word of rational means ratio. So in other words, we're just multiplying and dividing fractions. Now it's an expression because we don't have it equal to anything and we're not solving. All we can do with expressions is simplify. So if we started out with 12 over 8, we could simplify it. We could look at 12 as being 2 times 2 times 3, 8 as being 2 times 2 times 2. If it's 2 times the top, 2 times the bottom, the yellow highlighted 2's drop out and give you 1. The green highlighted ones are 2 over 2, which is also 1. So you're only left with the 3 over the 2 for your final answer. When you're multiplying and dividing rational expressions, you can only cross things out, top and bottom, that are multiplied together. Some people are tempted to cross out things that are common terms, which means things that are added to the top and added to the bottom. Consider the problem 9 over 5. Well, 9 is also just 4 plus 5. Some people, when they see something like this, are tempted to cross out the 5's. If you cross out the 5's, you just get a 4. Well, 9 over 5 is a little bit less than 2. Obviously does not equal 4. So you cannot cross out things that are added to the top and the bottom or subtracted to the top and bottom. You can only cross out things that are multiplied top and bottom. So let's look at this rational expression. We want to know where this expression is undefined. Where it's going to be undefined is where the denominator is going to be 0. So we need to factor the whole denominator. The first x plus 7, that's factored. Then we have y squared plus or minus 9. That's differences of squares. So now we need to take a look at where is this undefined. Where is it undefined? Well, what causes the bottom to be 0? Set each parenthesis equal to 0 and solve it. So go x plus 7 equals 0 and solve it. You get x equals negative 7. You set your y plus 3 equal to 0, and you get y equals negative 3. You set your y minus 3 equal to 0, you get y equals 7. So where it's undefined is whenever the denominator is 0 before you simplify. But it also did say to simplify up here. So besides having the purple for the undefined, we're going to simplify, and you'll notice we have a y plus 7 times the top, a y plus 7 times the bottom. So they're going to drop out. So it leaves us with only a 3y on top, and your y plus 3, y minus 3 on the bottom. That's simplified. So looking here, once again, you can only cross out things that are multiplied top and bottom. So I want to start out by first of all factoring. I want to see what can I pull out of the top. I can pull out an a to the fourth, and then that would leave me with a to the fourth times a b to give me that first term, subtraction sign, and a to the fourth times 2 to give me this last term. Then on the bottom, I want to factor out my a cubed. So now I can ask myself, which one has more a's, the top or the bottom? And I know I can cross those out because it's a to the fourth times the top, a cubed times the bottom. Well, I can cross them out, and that would leave me with an a to the first on the top. Now, when I look at these, b minus 2 and 2 minus b, they're not the same, but they're similar. Consider 5 minus 3 over, switching them around, 3 minus 5 would give me a 2 over a negative 2. That's a negative 1. Consider another problem. Suppose I take two other numbers, 4 minus 8, and take 8 minus 4. I get negative 4 over 4. That's negative 1. Whenever the top and the bottom are for the most part the same, but switched around the minus sign, you get negative 1. And that's what we had up here. So the top and the bottom are the same, but switched around the minus sign, so we can cross those out, and we can put a negative 1. So we just have a times a negative 1, and we get negative a. Notice when I crossed it out, I only put a negative on either just the top or just the bottom. I don't want to put a negative on the top and the bottom because a negative 1 over a negative 1 is positive 1. and I need to write a negative 1. Over here, we're multiplying fractions. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. Now that everything's multiplication, all I have to do is start just crossing stuff out. I couldn't do that right away over here on the left because I did not have all multiplication, and that's why I had to factor it first. So we go ahead, look at 8 as being 2 cubed, 21 is a 3 and a 7, 16 as being a 2 to the 4th, and then I can start simplifying. You'll say, oh, well, let's see. I have a 2 to the 4th in the bottom, and that's going to knock out my 2 cubed on the top because I have one extra 2 in the bottom, you could say. You could take a look at the 7s and go, oh, the 7s are going to just drop each other out. So that's true. You could say, oh, let's take a look at the y's. Which one has more y's, the top or the bottom? Well, the bottom does. It has one more. So I'm going to cross those out and put a 1. And then you can look at the x's and do the same type of thing. You can say, well, the bottom has 2 more x's and cross that out. And then you look at what's left. Well, what are we left with? Well, we're left with only nothing on top, so that's really a 1. On the bottom, you have a 2 times a 3, that's 6. You have a y to the first, and you have an x squared, and so that's your answer of a 1 over a 6y x squared.